sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network. Hey, how you doing? I know, no music. That was short. Holy crap, huh? This is... Sorry, this is the Views Express Live for the 9th of July, 2014. How y'all doing? Are you happening? Are you out there? Are you cruising? It's just one of those things, eh? Okay. It's Wednesday. I was off yesterday, and I told you I was off on Facebook, and because the weather was really bad, we had massive thunderstorms that rocked the ground and, you know, all that. And so I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to do a show because, you know, the power might go out. So guess what? Yeah, about an hour and 5 minutes. I didn't start the show or nothing, but an hour and 5 minutes after I would have start the show, power went out. And I thought, see. Yeah. So anyway, took yesterday off. Anyway, hey, I'm glad you're here. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Check it out. Also, if you want to check out the website, go to freeamericaradio.us. freeamericaradio.us. Sometimes I hear myself say that really fast, and I'm going, did they catch that? I don't know. freeamericaradio.us. There we go. And if you want to email me, of course you can. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Again, Free America Radio on Facebook, on the NSA tracking device, you know, all that. Hey, lots of stuff going on today. If you're down around Southern California and maybe a couple of hours away from Marietta, head down there. Go for it. Yeah, just, we got to stop this crazy train from derailing, okay? We do. And if we don't, then we're screwed. And, you know... Anyway, so, what else is going on today? How about this? DailyMail.co.uk revealed hundreds of words to avoid using online if you don't want the government spying on you, and they include pork, cloud, and Mexico. Department of Homeland Security forced to release list following Freedom of Information request. Agency insists it only looks for evidence of genuine threats to the United States and not for signs of general dissent. Okay. Yeah, I believe that. I'll be talking about that here in a bit. But, yeah, what's going on in your neck of the woods? Please let me know. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com is the email address. freeamericaradio.us. Hey, check out Brian Lang over at livetruthradio.com. Yeah, check out his show, Live Truth Radio. And he's got other shows on his network as well. And a rebroadcast of this show at some point. I don't know. Go to livetruthradio.com. Check out the schedule. Also, you might want to check out Waking Up the Masses over at wakingupthemasses.com with Bob Brutus over there as well. Yeah. So much going on. It's just a lot going on today. And after yesterday, I've seen a lot. But anyway, you know what? I'm going to go to break, of course, 5-minute mark. And when we get back, we'll talk about that headline. I'll go through that Daily Mail article for you. So, in the meantime, folks, stick around. Come on back. Check out the Views Express live at freeamericaradio.us. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Listen to Kicking the Capstone with Bob Brutus immediately following the views expressed live.
Putting the local back into radio.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, how you doing? This is the Views Expressed Live. How are you on this 9th of July, 2014? Yeah, 9th of July. Go to freeamericaradio.us for more information on the show. Or if you're on Spreaker.com, just look up Free America Radio Network, and that's where I'm at. So join me in the chat room and say hi. I get notifications of people... or you know, how many listeners I get per live show, and I'm just like, well, okay, if there's that many, how come they don't show up and pop in the chat room and say hi? So, yeah, drop by, say hi. There you go. Anyway, Free America Radio on Facebook. Go to, where is it? I got to show you. It says, revealed hundreds of words to avoid using online if you don't want the government spying on you. And they include pork, cloud, and Mexico. Isn't that wonderful? Can you say thought police? Holy crap. This is an article from dailymail.co.uk by Daniel Miller. Thank you, Daniel. Department of Homeland Security has been forced to release a list of keywords and phrases it uses to monitor social networking sites and online media for signs of terrorist or other threats against the U.S. The intriguing list includes obvious choices such as attack, Al-Qaeda, terrorism, and dirty bomb, alongside dozens of seemingly innocent words like pork and cloud and team and Mexico. Released under a Freedom of Information request, the information sheds new light on how government analysts are instructed to patrol the internet, searching for domestic and external threats. The words are included in the department's 2011 Analyst's Desktop Binder. Go look that one up. Used by workers at their national operation centers, which instruct workers to identify, quote, media reports that reflect adversely on DHS and response activities, unquote. Department chiefs were forced to release the manual following a House hearing over documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, which revealed how analysts monitor social networks and media organizations for comments that reflect adversely on the government. However, they insist the practice was aimed not at policing the internet for disparaging remarks about the government and signs of general dissent, but to provide awareness of any potential threats. As well as terrorism, analysts are instructed to search for evidence of unfolding natural disasters, public health threats, and serious crimes such as mall school shootings, major drug busts, illegal immigration busts. The list has been posted online by the Electronic Privacy Information Center, a privacy watchdog group who filed a request under the Freedom of Information Act before suing to obtain the release of the documents. In a letter to the House Homeland Security Subcommittee on Counterterrorism and Intelligence, the center described the choice of words as broad, vague, and ambiguous. There's a whole list of them, folks. There is a whole... You just got to read the article. So let me I'll just... Domestic security words are like authorities, militia, screening, lockdown, riot, looting, organized crime. Hazmat, nuclear, words are like radiation or toxic, national laboratory, industrial spill. These are all words. These are all words that they think you're going to use and you're a terrorist, okay? Health concern and H1N1 is contamination, exposure, virus, all these wave, pandemic, sick, pork, that kind of thing. Infrastructure and security, telecommunications, metro, body scanner, blackout, bridge. Yeah, the word bridge is in there, like you're going to go, take care of a bridge or something. And I have to say this in light of what's happening in Southern California right now at the border, Southwest border violence, drug cartel violence, gang, drug, narcotics, cocaine, marijuana, heroin, border, Mexico, cartel. These are all words that that they say is, you can't use, if you use those words online, they'll be knocking at your door. So what's next? Smurf? What's next? I don't know. Folks, it's getting bad. Really bad. And frankly, I'm tired of people, just looking at it and sticking their fingers in their ears and going, la, 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 la. Yeah, the excuse is, that's the only way I can survive. Really? Really? Okay. Whatever floats your boat there, Captain. From freedomoutpost.com, the Everything Bubble. This link is on Free America Radio on Facebook. The Everything Bubble. Several bubbles are ready to burst. As soon as the article comes up, and the pain will be absolutely enormous. Michael Snyder over at freedomoutpost.com. Is there any doubt that we are living in a bubble economy? At this moment in the United States, we are simultaneously experiencing a stock market bubble, a government debt bubble, a corporate bond bubble, a bubble in San Francisco real estate, a farmland bubble, a derivatives bubble, and a student loan bubble. And of course, similar things could be said about most of the rest of the planet as well. In fact, the total amount of government debt around the world has risen by about 40% just since the last recession. But it is never sustainable when asset prices and debt levels increase much faster than the overall level of economic growth. History has shown us that all financial bubbles eventually burst. And when these current financial bubbles in America burst, the pain is going to be absolutely enormous. You know that things are getting perilous when even the New York Times starts pointing out financial bubbles everywhere. The following is a short excerpt from a recent NotQuant article. New York Times points out that just about everything on Earth is expensive by historical standards, and then asks the seemingly obvious question, does that make a bubble? Welcome to the everything boom, and quite possibly the everything bubble. Around the world, nearly every asset class is expensive by historical standards. Stocks and bonds, emerging markets and advanced economies, urban office towers and Iowa farmland, you name it. And it's a trading at prices that are high by historical standards relative to fundamentals. The inverse of that is relatively low returns for investors. Quite possibly, we're not sure what definition of the word bubble they're using, but in our book, when the price of literally everything blasts upwards, obliterating the previous ceilings of historical benchmarks, it's a pretty good indication that you're in a bubble. Well, of course, when most people think of financial bubbles, the very first thing they think of is the stock market. And without a doubt, we are in a stock market bubble right now. The Dow has risen more than 10,000 points since the depths of the last recession, and it's nearly 3,000 points higher than it was at the peak of the last stock market bubble in 2007, when our economy was far stronger than it is now. But of course, these stock prices do not reflect economic reality in any way whatsoever. Our economy has not even come close to recovering to the level it was at prior to the last financial crisis, and yet, thanks to massive Federal Reserve money printing, stock prices have soared to unprecedented heights. At some point, a massive correction is coming. No stock market bubble lasts forever for a whole bunch of technical reasons why serious market turmoil is on the horizon. Please see a recent Forbes article entitled "The 23 Charts Prove That Stocks Are Heading for a Devastating Crash." It's a pretty lengthy article, folks. You can find that at Free America Radio on Facebook. Yeah, we're screwed, blued, and tattooed. Eventually, give you a prime example. Okay. You got a balloon and you got air. You put air in that balloon. You keep going until that thing explodes. Okay. Then you take water. You take a balloon, you put water in it. You keep going and going and going and going and going, and then it blows up. Were they the same size when they expanded, when they blew up? Folks, the point is no matter what's in that bubble, it's going to blow up. Heavy debt for students going into school, coming out of school, in other words, colleges, community colleges or universities, it's perpetual debt. Perpetual. I'm going to say it, it's indentured servitude. You become a slave to the debt. Okay? And let's just say, I'm going to give you an example. You go to college, you go to community college, do a 2-year program. Let's just say you're smart enough to work your way through those programs, and you get out and you don't have a school loan, but you want to go to a 4-year college. So, what do? Well, your current job may not be able to pay for the books that they want, so you go the route of getting school loans. Please don't, because you get those loans, you go to school, you spend the 4 years there, you graduate, and guess what? What you went to school for 4 years prior is not the job, the career that you wanted. It's not going to be there when you graduate. Statistics already show that. Because of the economics, because of certain supply and demand, because of certain resources, and because of foreigners being in our country that know more than you do by the time they're 16. You know what I'm saying? So, and outsourcing. Outsourcing sucks. Thank you, former President Bill Clinton, for all that. Thank you, NAFTA and GATT, which screwed everything up. So, think about it. You're in perpetual debt. It doesn't matter. Think about it this way. New moms, new parents that are out there right now, brand new infants. Did you know, in relationship to the national debt, your child is already $55,000 in the hole? Did you know that? Yeah, go check it out. And it's you cannot get out of it. Some people that I have talked to said, well, they went to school years ago and they just now paid off their student loan. we need, in a way, the whole system needs to collapse for people to go, oh, wow, what? I have nothing now? Good. Start out from the bottom and be responsible. I myself personally don't think there should be any school loans whatsoever, because I think when your mom and dad or your your grandparents went to school, what did they do? They worked, they worked jobs, and then they went to school. Okay? Now, of course, logistically speaking, you're not able to do that nowadays. And a lot of the things that you do are online. Most colleges now have, you can go to the campus 1 or 2 days a week, and the rest of the time you can do everything online. So why not? I don't think there should be school loans at all. If you want to go, I think there should be grants and scholarships, yes, but no loans. Why? I'll tell you why. 2 words, cha-ching. The bank that loans out that money is directly related to the bank, to the people that run that bank, which is also part of and probably a board member of the Federal Reserve. See? And if you don't pay the school loan back when you get out, guess who comes along and takes your money? Oh, yes. The Internal Revenue Service, which is another private organization like the Federal Reserve, that takes your money. I can go on and on and on. Connect the dots, folks. The dots are there. They're waiting for you to connect them. Get rid of school loans, period. Just get rid of them. Well, what are mom and dad's going to do if they send no work? Find a part-time job, and if you got to spend most of your check on school, then hey, big deal. Well, then what's the point? The job's not going to be there, really. Then start your own business. Why not? You worked hard enough in school to get the knowledge to do that, didn't you? I don't see any problem with that. Segueing. Here in Nevada, I'm broadcasting live from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. In some part of the city, and we have a Senate Majority Leader who is the dumbest person on the face of the earth. Oh my God, I said something in dissent of government control. Harry Reid insults Clarence Thomas. Let me preface this right now, folks, for those that don't know who Clarence Thomas is. He's on the Supreme Court of the United States, and he's a black person. Harry Reid insults Clarence Thomas, remains in the lead for most who the F hired this guy senator story. Let's go over there and read, shall we? During a press conference yesterday in Washington, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Democrat of Nevada, criticized, this is Harry Reid's words, quote unquote, 5 white men who voted to extend religious freedom protections to owners of held businesses in the Hobby Lobby case. Quote, this is what Harry Reid says. Quote, one thing we are going to do during this work period sooner rather than later is to ensure that women's lives are not determined by virtue of 5 white men, unquote. Quote, this Hobby Lobby decision is outrageous and we are going to do something about it. People are going to have to walk down here and vote, and if they vote with the 5 white men in the Supreme Court, I think they're going to be treated unfavorably come November for the elections, unquote. Can you say blackmail? No pun intended to Clarence Thomas. I don't think Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid knows that Clarence Thomas is black. I really don't. Plus, he's basically threatening the Supreme Court, veiled as it is. If you don't vote, this is what Harry Reid is saying. Let me put it to you in English and get rid of all the legalese bull crap that Harry Reid likes to, use. It's this way. You vote my way, you do things my way, or you're not going to be on the Supreme Court, and I'll make sure of it. That's pretty much Harry Reid's, way of doing things. This man has some serious mental disorder. Okay, either that or he's just a total jackass. Or both. Reid and Democrats are trying to play up the Hobby Lobby decision as a wedge issue, see, told you, in the election to get their base out to the polls this fall. Whatever. That's one of the few cards they have to play while everything else is burning down around them. Yeah. Harry Reid is a total jackass. But Reid comes off looking like an idiot here. Justice Clarence Thomas, one of the 5 justices who made up the majority of the Hobby Lobby case, is an African American. By the way, there are 5 guys on the Supreme Court, but Clarence Thomas is black. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to say it again. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's all a facade. It's all a charade. It's all a puppet show that you and I are, have the pleasure of viewing. Our strings are being pulled. Why? Because they want us to dance to their tune. And guess what? I'm turning off the effing music. Screw them. I made a statement on my Facebook page, and I stand beside it. I stand over it. I stand under it. It is my statement. I don't recognize Washington, D.C. to be the nation's capital anymore. I don't accept it. I don't accept the unconstitutional executive orders from this illegitimate community organizer that's sitting in the White House. I don't. He's a puppet to the puppet masters that control Washington, D.C. Corporates, Bilderberg Group, those folks as well. I will recognize my state and local authority, but I won't recognize the federal authority ever in my life. Ever. Until we have somebody that's actually going to go up against this whole system, collapse it, and then put somebody in that Oval Office that says, you see the Constitution prior to 1871, that's the way we're going to go. Right there. 3 things need to happen in Washington, D.C. Number 1, get the corporates out. Kick them out. That's number 1. They're all fired. Go away. Bye-bye. No hard money from corporations contributing to any type of political campaign, period. Folks, these people buy the offices up there in Washington, D.C. to put these people they selected into those offices. Our votes don't count. On a local level, they may do, and there's some working there as well, but nationally, forget about it. Second thing is fire all the lobbyists and get them out. Third, special interest groups. Bye-bye. You have no say whatsoever in Washington, D.C. I told someone when I was working, I was telling somebody that too. We need to get rid of the lobbyists and the special interest groups. You know what this person has the gall to tell me? Well, how is Washington, D.C. going to be run? I looked right at him and I said, by we the people. And he humphed and walked away. What? I don't know, folks. I mean, are we that, blind to what's going on? I'm not. So anyway, hey, I'm going to take a break. Bottom of the hour. Yay! Hey, Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, and the website is freeamericaradio.us. Let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods, okay? That's freeamericaradio.us. I shall return right after this. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the Views Expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, on RadioFreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, and/or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, you're listening to The Views Express Live. Hey, folks, how you doing? I'm back. Yes, how you doing? Yes. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com is the email address. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com. is the website. Go check it out, folks. If you want to sponsor the show, you can. Just go to the sponsors page. Check it out there, and if you just want to donate, you can do that too. Down at the bottom of the page at freeamericaradio.us is a donate button. You can donate if you like, or better yet, hey, want to help yourself out? Go to the emergency food supply tab at the top of the page. Buy as much emergency food supply as you can. That's not only going to help you out, that's going to help out Free America Radio get the truth out one fact at a time. So if you want to do that, awesome. Any questions? No question is off limits. Please ask. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll tell you. Hey, not a big deal to me. Excuse me. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. ConservativeTribune.com has a story. Israel bombs 160 terrorist locations in massive stand for self-defense. Really? When it comes to dealing with terrorist attacks that threaten the security and safety of citizenry, Israel knows how to take care of business. Unlike President Obama, who seems to think a show of force against our enemies to prevent them from attacking fellow Americans is somehow morally wrong, Israeli leadership recognizes that those who terrorize its people need to be struck down swiftly. Israel decided to step up their efforts to exterminate the Hamas terrorist organization in Palestine after a group brutally murdered 3 Jewish teens, one of which was an American citizen. And why aren't we over there? Shortly after the bodies were discovered, Obama insulted the nation of Israel by asking them to use restraint when dealing with perpetrators of this grisly crime. Israeli military responded to Obama's advice by thoroughly bombing and destroying several Hamas targets. Israel has since launched an even bigger offensive against Hamas, bombing 160 terrorist locations after having militants fire 160 missiles into various parts of the country, targeting half of its population. Fox News reports Israel's military said Wednesday that it had struck dozens of sites linked to the Islamic militant group Hamas on the second day of an offensive aimed at stopping rocket attacks directed at key cities across Israel. It goes in and talks about that a little bit. Since the offensive began Tuesday, Israel has attacked more than 400 sites in Gaza, killing at least 41 people, according to the Associated Press. The strikes came after militants fired more than 160 rockets at Israel, including one that reached the northern Israeli city of Hadera for the first time. The city is about 60 miles from Gaza. The Hadera explosion caused no injuries, the Israeli army said, but it did mark the farthest distance a rocket has traveled from Gaza. With its new reach, Hamas's rockets now have an estimated 5 million people, more than half of the Israeli population, or Israel's population, in range. Israel's defense minister Wednesday warned that the offensive would be long-term. Quote, the operation against Hamas will expand in the coming days, and the price the organization will pay will be very high. Defense Minister Moshe Halon said, and the writer of the article here, who is, I didn't tell you who it was, did I? The writer of the article says, good. Israel has every right to defend themselves from enemies who want to destroy them and their way of life, regardless of what our weak commander-in-chief may think. The Israeli military should continue to bomb Hamas targets and do what it needs to secure peace for the future of its people. Yeah. I don't care who you are in this whole, this whole military exopolitics game. I say exo because I'll just honestly put it this way. Israel has a right, a God-given right to protect itself. Now, some other people would say, well, so do the Palestinians. Really? Do you know how long these two people have been fighting? And I don't even know if they know what they're fighting about nowadays. Can you say 5,000 years of war? Historically, when you look back on the Palestinians and the Israeli people, guess what, folks? Go look at your history. It was two brothers that got pissed off at one another. All right? That's pretty much what it is. Go look at your history. Biblical history, other, history out of that, not just biblical. I mean, look at the surrounding area. Can you imagine fighting with your ancestors for this long? That's just freaking ridiculous, folks. It's just freaking ridiculous. Okay? And by the way, if you look at the actual history, not the revisionist history, Israel was not recognized as a country until, I believe, 1948 by the United Nations. But here's the caveat. Here's the big reveal, folks. When you go and you look at the actual history, and I have read other things as well, and other people have verified this as well, the Palestinians are more Jewish than the current residents of that land they call Israel. Okay? Go look at the actual, factual, historical documents. I don't care if you got to go to the, museum in Jerusalem to find this stuff. It's there. And it's easy. I mean, it's easy to figure it out. Connect the dots. It's there. So think about it. I mean, you got to look at this stuff. You got to examine what's there. You have to really, really, really dig deep. And yes, you may have to go into a rabbit hole that just continually goes and goes and goes. But along the way, you're going to learn a lot. When I was reading, my mom has a huge freaking library of books, and I was reading a whole bunch of stuff when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. And even younger than that. I was reading about the Garment District in New York, and I was reading about all that, and I was reading about the history of, certain, just all sorts of books that my mom had. I didn't get into books like War and Peace. I didn't want to have 3 years of my life taken away from reading that book. That's huge. Have you ever seen that book? But a lot of stuff interested me. So the stuff that did interest me, my mom goes, here's a book. Here, go read this. It's just a wealth of information, So I would go examine it, and I'd read it and check things out. And then I had those books about, the presidents, like President Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. I had all those books, and I was checking those out. And by the way, they were written by revisionists, so they really didn't get into, the whole issue of the technicalities in their administrations. I mean, but just bits and pieces of what they thought was important. Not actual factual history, So you got to look, you got to examine, you got to, as hard, as difficult as it is to examine and history and to look and to read and to see what's going on around you right now and to accept it. It's difficult enough to research this stuff and to take time, make time and research this stuff. But it's difficult as well to accept that we've been lied to all these years. It's just a massive freaking lie. Okay? Our government is illegitimate. Our Washington, D.C. is an illegitimate place. No longer serves the purpose of the American people. And has presidents, in the past screw this whole country up for their own gain or for the gain of the people that actually control them. So, I mean, that... Bottom line is, folks, you got to know who the puppet masters are to understand just how, this show is being, done. Okay? I mean, you connect the dots with J.P. Morgan Chase. You connect the dots with the Rockefellers and with, just a whole bunch of people. You're going to find that the corporations own Washington, D.C. You and I don't. Yeah, we send money to where? To the IRS? Well, what are they doing? Oh, they give it to the federal government. No, they don't. They put it in a little coffer, and some members of Washington, D.C. come over and go, oh, I'll take $10 billion to go give it to the enemy. Yeah. I don't know. You can go look this stuff up yourself, folks. I'm sure you're smart enough to do that. Free America Radio on Facebook. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker just put up a photo. And speaking of control, speaking of selected offices instead of elected offices, here's where it all starts out besides the Bilderberg Group. Here's where it all, coalesces, let's say, and who gets their blessings to go to the next level. Of course, you got Skull and Bones, you've got, Freemasons, you got all that. But Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Bohemian Grove is a private campground located in Northern California where some of the world's most powerful men meet for a couple of weeks each year towards the end of July. Since 1923, every Republican president and most Democratic presidents of the United States have attended. Like many of the elite clubs, it has the normal list of accommodations and attributes: white males, prostitutes, and ritual ceremonies. The most popular ceremony performed is known as the Cremation of Care, where a burning effigy is sacrificed to a 40-foot concrete owl known as Molech. Ceremonies such as this have given people much to consider as to what the real purpose is behind Bohemian Grove. President Richard Nixon said he went there one day, one time, and he said it was the gayest thing he ever saw. That's President Nixon for you, okay? It was the gayest thing he ever saw. So, I mean, seriously. Free America Radio on Facebook. From Obama, the perfect Manchurian candidate. That's a long thing to remember. Obama, the perfect Manchurian candidate.blogspot.com. Nancy Ruth Owens, the Obama birth certificate forger, dispels the myth of Maya, the Hawaiian sister. Just hang on to your shorts there, folks. Go check that out. I'm not going to read it to you. I want you to read that. It's up on Free America Radio. It's Obama, the perfect Manchurian candidate. Nancy Ruth Owens, the Obama birth certificate forger. It's on Free America Radio on Facebook. It's important to know, as we all should, it's important to know that we have certain unalienable or inalienable, unalienable rights. What does that mean? They can't be taken away. I don't care who you are. They can't be taken away. Period. Go look it up. And, excuse me. So when you have an administration that is tearing through the Constitution, ripping it apart, throwing it in the, in the trash can and just saying, screw you people, we're going to do whatever we want, there comes a point at which you need to understand that your rights are God-given, not government-appointed. Okay? They didn't grant you the rights from government. These rights were given to you long before you were put on this planet. Excuse me. So, Remember that. Because our founding fathers wrote this Constitution and the Bill of Rights ratified in Congress in December 15th, 1791. And one of those amendments was something that, well, protects other amendments. It's the Second Amendment. My Second Amendment right protects your First Amendment right. That's as easy as I can put it. Except for WorldNet Daily, WND.com, Target's gun ban backfires. Here come the robbers. Major retailers' firearms policy creates danger for customers. That's Target, folks. Okay? Within 3 days of the new policy asking customers not to bring their guns to Target stores, reports have surfaced of armed attacks on customers. 2 Target shoppers at different stores in Georgia had been robbed by armed thugs since the discount retailer announced in July 2nd in a letter from its CEO that it would, quote, respectfully request, unquote, that customers leave their guns at home when they visit Target. Spokeswoman Molly Snyder said it was not a ban on guns, just a request that the Minneapolis-based retailer hoped its customers would honor. She said no signs would be posted banning guns, nor would any customer legally carrying a gun in Target stores be asked to leave. On the very same day, CEO John Mulligan issued a public statement. A man was robbed at gunpoint in the parking lot of a Target in Gainesville, Georgia. 3 days later, on July 5th, a woman in Edgewood area of Atlanta had just parked her Mercedes-Benz in a Target parking garage and exited her vehicle when she was approached by a black man who punched her in the head, knocking her to the ground. He took her purse and keys and then warned her to stay on the ground or I will effing kill you, according to police reports. He then put her car in reverse and would have run her over if she hadn't rolled out of the way, she told police. She said she obeyed his commands, according to the Decatorish.com. Just days earlier, the Gainesville Police Department arrested 3 men on charges of robbing a man of cash at gunpoint in a parking lot of a Target in Shallowford Road in the city, about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta. Officers were able to get the vehicle and the suspect description, according to police spokesman Corporal Kevin Holbrook. The alleged robbers were arrested later that day. The victim, Kyle Bledsoe, reportedly had more than $500 cash on him. Officers confiscated 1 handgun when they made the arrest, Holbrook said. Jerry Henry, executive director of GeorgiaCarry.org, said he thought Target made a poor decision. Quote, that's what happens in gun-free zones. They actually should be called victim enrichment zones because that's what they are. If anyone wants to commit a crime with impunity, take your gun where there are no guns. You can do that. You can do what you want, get in and get out, and there's nobody to stop you. Yeah, folks. There you go. It's not a ban on guns. It's just, well, we respectfully request and we just hope that you don't bring it. It would be nice if. Be good little shoppers and don't piss off everybody in the store. We don't want you carrying your guns because it might freak out a child or something. Screw that. If you can legally carry your gun, and even in an open carry state, carry the damn thing. Okay? Jeez. We're not the Wild West. I know I get that argument a lot. You know, I grew up in Stockton, California. Born and raised right there in Stockton, California. I got to tell you right now, a lot of problems in California are political. In other words, you know, over-regulation and just rules and laws and policies that just do not cater to anything innovative, and they suppress the rights of the people. Okay? That's California. California's done. California is no longer... I don't even recognize California as being a state of the United States. Because Governor Brown, his third term, by the way, literally has just closed that, suppressed people so much that people in businesses in California are leaving. They're going, screw you, and left. Okay? California's done. Okay, great places there. I'm going there on vacation, at the end of the month. Wonderful mountains. I've camped all over the place, but the politics there sucks. And you know what? People, and I'm going to say this, people in California don't have the balls to stand up against a criminal government like the one in California, period. They don't have the balls to go to Sacramento, run around that, or march around that state capitol and start addressing the issue of impeaching that a-hole. By the way, my mom remembers growing up in Stockton, and Pat Brown, Governor Brown's father, was governor of California, and he was doing a poor job at it too. That was prior to Reagan being governor of California. It's amazing, folks. Oh, California's not that bad. Really? How come businesses are leaving? How come medium-sized to smaller businesses are being overregulated to the point of shutting down because they can't afford the regulations anymore? And it's not the fact that they're not making the money. It's just that the regulations have caused them to, it created poor sales. Okay? Poor economics. The over-regulations, that's what it, and now Nevada's starting to do the same thing. But this is a conservative state. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Okay? Hey, folks. Little reality check for you here. Did you know? When you were born, your parents registered you with the government as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. In a few years, your corporation will receive a taxpayer ID number called a Social Security number, NIS number, IRD number, etc., depending on where you are. This is so you can be used as collateral for the government to acquire debt. Your labor, time, and energy backs up the national debt. You are stock, folks. You are a commodity. Don't believe it? Go look it up. It's right there in front of your face. It's right there. I don't know why people don't understand that. Before I go to the top of the hour break, I'm going to go to the Spreaker chat and say hello to the one and only Mr. Nick Tucker. Go to Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Check out his entries, his posts, his pictures, because they are very informative. Very informative. Okay? So check it out. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. Hopefully we'll get him back on the air. And just a little note, my laptop decided to, last week, my laptop and Skype and all that decided to just burp, and it just wasn't working quite the way it should have. And, well, now it is. So, I don't know. Maybe that sledgehammer helped. No, I'm just kidding. But it's working now. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Technology. Jeez. I thought it was supposed to make us, independent of all these physical things. Yeah. Yeah. More technology requires more people to know what they're doing, and probably a third or more don't even know what they're doing. I know people that are scared to turn on a computer. I don't want to turn that on. Oh, God. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully next week, cross my fingers, hopefully next week I can twist Nick Tucker's arm to have him on the show and just let him go, man, because he's got a lot to say. And if you want to know what he has to say, go to Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Check it out. Okay? Awesome. And someone else in the Spreaker chat, Mr. Stephen Collenborn. Yes, hello there, Stephen. Free America Radio on Facebook is where you need to be if you're not there already. freeamericaradio.us is the website if you're not there already listening to the show. Free America Radio at USA.com is the email address. And ask me anything you like. No question is off limits. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. And that's fine because, hey, I can just go look it up. I can go find it somewhere. Big deal. FreeAmericaRadio.us is the website. And right now, folks, I'll be back right after this break.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Waking up the masses. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom for your consumption. Waking up the masses. News and views concerning the New World Order. Waking up the masses. Join Bob Brutus as he pulls back the curtain on the esoteric agenda which has been in play for a millennia. Waking up the masses. WakingUpTheMasses.com.
Joining us today on RadioKahuna.com. We so appreciate having you in. This is Steve from Claire-Normal Talk Radio. I'm also here, one of the personalities on Radio Kahuna. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy having you people in. Thank you so very much. Hey, we're growing all over the planet by leaps and bounds. People from all over the planet are coming in and listening. But there's not enough. It's not enough. We need more. We're asking for your help. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Tell 10 friends. Just tell them this. Tell them they'll get laid. Come on in. Enjoy the surf. The sets are fine. Steve from Claire Normal Talk Radio and Radio Kahuna. Thank you very much.
Dreams that you dream of.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
You're listening to the views expressed live on Waking Up the Masses Radio Network.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Views Expressed Live right here on the Free America Radio Network. Also, you can hear the rebroadcast over at livetruthradio.com. Check it out, see what their schedule is like, and also listen to Mr. Brian Lang over there at livetruthradio.com. Got some great guests on that show. How y'all doing on this 9th of July, 2014? Go to freeamericaradio.us if you would, if you're not there already. Or email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. Yes. Ask me any question you like. No question is off limits. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. It's that simple, folks. It's that simple. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com and freeamericaradio.us. Lots of things. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Free America Radio on Facebook. Lots of things going on. We have a lot of stuff. By the way, former mayor of New Orleans, Ray Nagin, I think is his name, has been sentenced to prison for bribery and all this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. So there you go. What else? We've got this border crisis going on as we speak. And I say, well, okay, it's not a border crisis. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a freaking invasion, okay? Perpetrated by the nut job that currently resides in the White House. All right? Oh, you don't like Obama because he's black. No, I don't like him because he's a freaking Marxist. I mean, I got friends of every race, creed, and religion that you can think of. Color means nothing to me, okay? So, no, I don't like this guy because of his politics, not because of anything that he, wears or what color he is. It doesn't matter. I didn't like Bush either, so it doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter. And if people want to continue to use the race card to try to divide the issue, to try to, suppress my opinion and my thoughts, you can kiss my ass. I see right through you. You open your mouth, you're going to immediately tell me just how ignorant you truly are. So there you go. He's a Marxist. That's what he is. He yeah. Free America Radio on Facebook. Scroll on down. You'll see illegal immigrant, quote-unquote, children include MS-13 gang members. TheNewAmerican.com has that article. Click on the link there in Free America Radio on Facebook. Warren Mass wrote this, posted it today. An internal summary of Border Patrol operations at U.S. Customs and Border Protection Nogales, which is in Arizona, placement center stated that 16 unaccompanied immigrant children being held at the facility are members of Mara Salvatrucha, better known as MS-13, transnational criminal gang. The summary, which was obtained by the Town Hall online magazine, noted that Border Patrol officials of Nogales were alerted to the MS-13 presence among the detainees when they discovered gang-related graffiti on the walls of the processing center. It stated, Border Patrol agents, BPAs, and Customs and Border Protection officers assigned to the Nogales Placement Center discovered the 16 unaccompanied alien children, 13 El Salvadorians males, 2 Guatemalan males, and 1 Honduran male, currently being held at the NPC are members of MS-13. The MS-13 gang members admitted to their gang associations following a discovery of graffiti at the NPC Homeland Security investigations, ICE enforcement and removal operations, and the Office of Refuge Resettlement were notified. This latest report from Border Patrol officials confirms what has been known for some time. On June 12th, Arizona Governor Jan Brewer sent a letter to House Speaker John Boehner, Republican of Ohio, and Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Democrat of Nevada, in which she expresses serious concern about a gang presence among the illegal immigrants from Central America crossing our borders. Okay? It's a long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Check it out. It does say here, though, As far back as January of 2009, Judicial Watch ran an article that cited a then-current report from the published by the Justice Department's National Gang Intelligence Center, an FBI task force created in 2005 to address the increased threat of violent gangs in the United States. Among the report's findings was that up to 80% of the United States, 80% of the crime in the United States is committed by gangs, and that gang membership in this country had grown to 1 million, an increase of 200,000 during the previous few years. Folks, I've said that before on previous episodes. I've said that before. Upwards to 60 to 65% of all gangs in this, 100% of all gangs in the United States, from Mexican or Latino or whatever, Central America, South America, that are up here, 60% of those, 60 to 65% of those members are, number one, illegal aliens. Number two, bought and paid for by the drug cartels in Mexico and other places. And number three, are here under the radar. Nobody knows they're here. But because of all the statistics and all the research and everything that our government does on all this stuff, we get these statistics. And even private organizations look at this stuff as well. Okay. I would even go as far as saying that now, as of 2014, and that was back, what was that, 2009? I would even say that somewhere to about 70% of all gang members in the United States are illegal aliens under the radar and all of that. They're violent. They're being funded by the drug cartels out of Mexico. Wake up, folks. I don't know why you can't get it. Hey, Diana Nelson happens to be in the Spreaker chat room, yes, and she is the host of Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, which we haven't done in weeks. Just been a little busy. Free America Radio on Facebook. InformedPlanet.org. Why are armed international security personnel now arresting American citizens? Why? InformedPlanet.org. Why are armed international security personnel now arresting American citizens? Bernie Suarez, Activist Post. ActivistPost.com probably has this article as well. It's a long freaking article. And he just goes in and talks about that as well. But let me start it out, and you can read the rest. I'm only going to go so far for time reasons. Very recently, the writer here says, Bernie says, I came across this scenario in the streets of Hollywood, California. The big scene seemed a bit striking to the average person walking by, as it was the middle of the day in a crowded, busy Hollywood street. A closer look caused me to be even more intrigued. There was a gentleman being arrested. He was in handcuffs and surrounded by 3 or 4 armed officers. Or were they really officers? A closer look surprised, as the writer here says, as Bernie says here. A closer look surprised me even more. The officers were not police. They were not Sheriff's Department or California Highway Patrol. They all wore a logo on their sleeves and a logo on an otherwise unmarked car that read Andrews International Security Services. Go to your favorite search engine and punch that up, folks. Andrews International Security Services. Nothing else. They otherwise had all black uniforms and all were armed like police officers, looking scary and aggressive. After getting a photograph of their logo, which earned me a dirty look from them, and investigating them with the LAPD, I was told by the LAPD, this is what Bernie says, the author of the article here says, I was told by the LAPD officer that this private security company is part of a program called Business Improvement District. The officer explained that they've been putting these security entities on the street for the last few years, to his knowledge. Ultimately, the officer agreed with me that this was a very serious situation, and it was a very interesting concept in light of the constitutionality and legality of it. These business improvement districts go by many other names, which all interestingly happen to have three-letter representations, like government agencies, making them sound official, including the Business Improvement Area, the Business Revitalization Zone, Community Improvement District, Special Services Area, and the Special Improvement District. All of these groups are similar types of bids operating nationwide. Upon further research on this matter, Bernie here says, I discovered that this is a business model that first began in 1970 in Toronto, where the first business improvement district was created in the Bloor West Village. Here in the U.S., the first bid appeared in New Orleans in 1974, touting themselves as the Downtown Development District. How are bids formed? Well, you're going to have to go read that yourself. It's a long article, and for time reasons, I'm just going to move on. So, yes, why are armed international security personnel now arresting American citizens? Yeah. Of course, former New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin sentenced to 10 years in prison, so you might want to go check that out. Also breaking, Texas and California militia unit to defend the border. ConservativeTribune.com has that article. Yeah, if the government's not going to do it, if our military is so spread out all over the world, we might as well take care of it, right? We might as well, get the camo on and lock and load and go down to the border. Yeah, I know. But it's our country, and we're going to protect it. Got it? Texas and California militia unite to defend the border. From Fox News, Free Republic founder Jim Robinson posted this on the popular conservative internet forum on Friday evening. We have independent units from the Bolinas Border Patrol and Central Valley Citizens Militia joining forces with independent citizens militia units of Texas to defend our southern border in Texas, to protest Obama's lawless open borders policy, and to rally support for Governor Perry to officially call out Guard units and Texas militia units at his disposal to defend the border. Lawsuits will not cut it. The invasion is happening now. Action must be taken now. Lawsuits have indeed been threatened, and more will no doubt come as this president and his administration continue to ignore their duty, trample on the rights of Americans, and flout both the law and the Constitution. Under the guise of humanitarianism, Obama is cynically using the hopes of tens of thousands of immigrants for his own personal gain, despite the dire consequences for them and for his own citizens. Crossing the border with civilian militia may not be the optimal manner in which to address the growing border crisis, but it certainly tops the alternative, which, from Washington Obamacrats, appears to be nothing. Why shouldn't we go over the border, folks? Why shouldn't we? The Mexican military has crossed our border and has fired upon Border Patrol agents. So what's the difference? Should we invade Mexico and just take it over? Or should we make sure that our borders are secure by any means necessary? Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. They're going to build tunnels underneath the fence. They're going to have ramps over the, top of the fence. They're going to do everything they can to get through. How about going to those areas where there is no fence? And how about setting up about 10,000 militia members right there? How about just putting maybe 1,000 across that area? Why not? Well, what about the children? What about the humanitarian efforts? Yeah, you pansy-ass little wimp. pack it in and go watch your stupid reality shows. I don't know. It just makes me want to push those little numbnuts over the border and just say, have at it. You know? I don't know. I don't know myself specifically. I don't know myself what the solution is. I just know we got to protect our country. Okay? That's all I know. I don't know what the answers are. But I do know that we have to protect our country. Asleep at the wheel, Obama slammed for missing border surge crisis. Yeah, did you hear that? He was in Colorado playing pool while all this stuff was going on. As Obama administration scrambles for billions in emergency funding to address the surge on the U.S.-Mexico border, it is facing yet another accusation that it was asleep as the crisis evolved. And there's a photo there of Pete Santilli from the Guerrilla Media Network and the Pete Santilli Show. Yeah, you should hear that. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. The Pete Santilli Show, GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com or GMN.is. Check that out. I read this earlier on a podcast, but it's very important to understand. Compassionate solution to the illegal immigrant crisis. Give them a shower, give them new clothes, give them medical care, give them a Happy Meal, give them a bus ticket and send them home. And tell the government and the people in their countries to have compassion and take care of them. Then make Obama enforce the existing laws and spend the $3.5 million, it's somewhere about $8 or $9 billion now, that he is requesting to care for these illegals, to instead hire and arm more border agents and build a longer, stronger, higher fence at the border to keep future illegals out of our country, and stop advertising amnesty to encourage more to cross and try to infiltrate our country illegally. That's a solution. There you go. We can't close the border. Their countries are falling apart. Yeah, Honduras is having military. The military came in and just took over the country. You know, since 2009, they've had a complete collapse of their country. Okay. And if we protest like they do over there, go look it up on YouTube. Go look Honduras protests. Go look it up on YouTube. You'll see the videos. I mean, it's just. Why isn't that happening here? I'll tell you why. It segues to the next story. ConservativeTribune.com. Breaking: border protesters prepare to be detained by feds. Riot squad. There goes your First Amendment right out the door. Peaceably assembling to protest, to petition the government for a redress of grievances. There you go. It's all thrown out the door, folks. We used to be able to protest. Remember, you can go back and see the films of the late 1960s when they were protesting the Vietnam War, or any war, actually. And you saw all that. You saw these people protest. I can tell you right now, Kent State, Ohio. I mean, that turned into a devastating, protest right there. And back then, it was we did it. Because we had more balls back then, I guess. I don't know. We had a backbone. I don't know. But now if you protest, you get, federal agents arresting you. And as I like to say, Guantanamo you. You disappear into the netherworld of the, of the prison industrial complex. It's amazing, folks. I don't know. ConservativeTribune.com. Marietta, California has become the central focus of the immigration crisis as protesters continue to from the White House in dealing with this crisis, and have decided to take matters into their own hands to fight for the protection of their communities from the strain of having hundreds of illegals, as the video goes, dropped off in their area with no support system. And They need medical care. If they're sick, they need it. That's humanitarian right there. Let's take care of them. Let's do what we got to do. But if there is no reason for them to be here, pack a jacket and leave. Stick them on the plane and send them home. And if their country won't accept it, fly them back to Mexico. Let Mexico take care of them. We don't have the money, folks. We don't have the support anymore. What part of $18 trillion in debt don't people understand? By the way, it's more than that. With derivatives, that monopoly money, these, the IRS and all that keep pulling out of their ass, We don't have the money. Go to usdebtclock.org. Go look at it. We don't have the money. We can't take care of our own people. What the hell are we trying to take care of others for? If you want to do it right, do it right. Stand in line. You don't like it? I don't care. Stay in your own country. Take care of what you got to take care of. Oh, wow, you just don't like people. No, I don't. I'm for immigration, legal immigration. Go to your consulate, your embassies, your immigration offices. Talk to them. It's going to cost a lot of money. So what? You can't go to Canada and just walk over the border and say, hey, I'm here, take care of me. You need a sponsor, you need a job, you need a place to live. Believe me, I looked into it. Okay. Protesters consisting of a variety of nationalities and backgrounds have managed to turn back buses headed into Marietta area 3 times now and say they plan on sticking around as long as necessary, even if it means being detained by federal authorities, a threat that might prove to be real. Okay? So, look at that, folks. Examine that for a minute. The ultimate goal is to blockade all the protesters, is to have several, federal trucks and MRAPs and whatever in front of these buses to push you over to get these illegal aliens into the country. You know what that tells me? That's a slap in the face of freedom and sovereignty right there. That's Washington, D.C. looking at you and me and everybody else who was born and raised in this country and saying, screw you, we're going to do whatever we want. Isn't that what a king does? Isn't that what a king does? I'll pull out what hair I got left if I get pissed off. TheFreeThoughtProject.com. Local cops are listening to your cell phone. Feds telling them to keep it hush-hush. U.S. pushing local police departments to keep quiet on the cell phone surveillance technology. U.S. pushing local cops to stay mum on surveillance. This comes out of the Associated Press, Washington. The Obama administration is quietly advising local police not to discuss details about surveillance technology that they are using to sweep up basic cell phone data from the entire neighborhoods, the Associated Press has learned. They're doing that in Las Vegas, and they're probably doing that here in Reno. Las Vegas' evil stepchild, I guess. I don't know. Or the stepsister they don't want to talk about. I'm not sure. Citing security reasons, I say that because Nick Tucker is down there in that area of Clark County. Citing security reasons, the U.S. has intervened in a routine state public records cases and criminal trials regarding use of the technology. This has resulted in the police departments withholding materials or heavily censoring documents in rare instances when they disclose anything about the purchase and the use of such powerful surveillance equipment. Federal involvement in local open records proceedings is unusual. It comes at a time when President Barack Obama has said that he welcomes a debate on government surveillance and called for more transparency about spying in the wake of disclosures about classified federal surveillance programs. One well-known type of surveillance equipment is known as a stingray, an innovative way for law enforcement to track cell phones used by suspects and gather evidence. The equipment tricks cell phones into identifying their owner's account information and transmitting data to police as if it were a phone company's tower. It allows police to obtain cell phone information without having to ask for help from service providers such as Verizon and AT&T, and can locate a phone without the user even making a call or sending a text. But without it, more details about how the technology works and under what circumstances it's used. It's unclear whether the technology might violate a person's constitutional rights or whether it's a good investment of taxpayer money. In other words, they're going the backdoor route so they won't have to. They don't want to go right to the company. They don't want to go right to the ISP because they know they would need a court order and they would need a warrant and they would need probable cause. They don't want to do that. But they'll go behind your back. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're doing it all behind your back. They're tearing away at the Constitution and the Bill of Rights behind your back. They're ripping it up. Yeah, they do that. Hey, folks, give me a minute or so, and I shall return right after this. Listen to Crash Talk with your host, Christopher John Taylor, on HTLA973.com.
Misfit is a misfit.
Samo.
Ignorant of hygiene, destructive, disorderly, and totally disrespectful.
It's the 515 with Samo on Samo Radio.
AM 1700 Daytona Beach, Holly Hill.
And Southnet 1.
All aboard! Train. Gonna love you. Take the last train to Boston. See the moving run. He's leaving. On that midnight train to Georgia.
Sarasota's home for R&B and soul. The Razor Blade Express with Dave the Rave.
What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman. Listen to Kicking the Capstone with Bob Brutus immediately following the views expressed live.
Putting the local back into radio.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Yes, it is, folks. The Free America Radio Network at freeamericaradio.us. Oh, the children. Oh, my God, the children. This whole border crisis has got me oh, my God. Yeah, those kids aren't innocent. The MS-13 gang is one of the most dangerous gangs there is in that part of the world and the country. By the way, I think early 2000s or late it was like 1998, 99, somewhere around in there. I began to hear about MS-13, and I'm like, well, who are these people? So I looked, and guess what? They're from Mexico, and they've made their way into L.A., they made their way into Stockton, they made their way clear up, the whole place. But here's the thing. They're heavily funded, and they're not innocent at all. And these kids, the children, you've seen the pictures, right? You saw the pictures of the kids in the facilities, right? They're all laying around and stuff. Yeah, they're not innocent. At a young age in Mexico, if you're in a really, really bad spot in Mexico, you got to learn how to take care of yourself. Okay? You can be 10 years old carrying around a gun. I mean, this kind of thing. So these MS-13 gang members, even though, they're just kids. No, they're deadly. Okay, because that's what they had to do. All right? So they're not as innocent as you might think. Well, we got to take care of them. Don't be like Glenn Beck, okay? We're going to take teddy bears and soccer balls down there. No, you're going to take, and he's going to take food. You can take food and medicine and all that and help them out and then send them back over to wherever they came from. And if you want to send them back to Mexico and not Central America, then go ahead and let Mexico deal with them. You know what? Have you heard this? Because I heard this. In Central America, when people cross the Mexican border, like want to come up to the U.S., they just walk across the southern Mexico border, right? You know what the Mexican military does to them? Shoot them on sight. They don't put up with the crap. They don't. That's what I hear. I don't know. I haven't verified. That's what I heard. I don't know. So, I don't know, man. I mean, we all sit around, no. Nope. I didn't get to this the other day, and I want to get to this now from Freedom Information Network, freedominfonet.net. Source, the Hacker News. InfoSec A-Team to launch NSA-proof invisible messenger for whistleblowers. I'm thinking to myself, just reading that headline, it's like, why are you telling anybody anything about this? You know what I mean? If you want to keep it secret, what are you putting it out for? You know what I mean? I'm not even going to read this. I want you guys to check it out. But it's just too long. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Hey, it's not too long. I'll read it. If a whistleblower, this is by, let me go look who wrote this. No. Well, yeah, okay. Lee Diber, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Sorry, Lee, if I butchered your name. If a whistleblower discloses an activity to the public, then there should be a trust-based mechanism that ensure the protection of truth tellers on an international level by hiding their identities. In an effort to provide this kind of service and security experts grouped together to create a stealthy internet messenger and file transfer client, which is especially designed for whistleblowers, dubbed as Invisible.im, is an anonymous instant messenger, not the, hacktivist group, but is an anonymous instant messenger that leaves no trace. The team behind the project called itself the InfoSec A-Team, which includes Metasploit founder H.D. Moore, noted InfoSec and OPSEC experts The Grug, an Australian security analyst Patrick Gray, and Richo. That's what it says, Richo. Invisible.im aims to serve the rigid anonymity needs of whistleblowers. The project website states, Invisible.im was established to develop an instant messenger and file transfer tool that leaves virtually no evidence of conversations or transfers having occurred. The primary use case for this technology is for whistleblowers and media sources who wish to remain anonymous when communicating with the press or other organizations. Everything comes and gets stuck on metadata. The launch of the project is because it is very easy for the government and law enforcement bodies to legally obtain metadata records from ISPs, telcos, and online service providers, despite the use of strong encryption by the people. No doubt, we are surrounded by many anonymous instant message services. One such is TorChat. TorChat offers anonymity, but still requires a registered IM account with an IM provider like AOL, Yahoo, or Microsoft that inevitably leaks the metadata. The metadata is no doubt having an impact on the willingness of sources to engage with the media, and Invisible IM solves this problem with its approach of instant message and file transfer client that leaves as small a metadata trail as possible. How about leaving none? How that would work better. Some anonymity tools like SecureDrop or Strongbox are also an excellent approach for the large media organization, but they are really complex and require secure supporting infrastructure. The service openly acknowledges that it doesn't offer absolute anonymity under every circumstances, as Invisible IM cannot leave absolutely no trail. Quote, if a source is already the subject of a targeted surveillance, Invisible IM cannot facilitate secure anonymous chats, unquote, states the site. The developers of the Invisible.im project, which is still in its very early stages, are looking for all kinds of developers to help create a polished implementation of the concept to other platforms such as Windows, OS X, and Linux. They are also willing to extend this concept into Darknet, specifically the I2P anonymization network. And is also looking forward to work with developers who have knowledge about Tor. My question is, when is it going to be available? You know, seriously. Yeah. So much. By the way, I never knew, well, you know, if you've ever listened to Fox News Radio, I have for a long time, until I realized, you know, just kind of, Tom Sullivan, who works for him, said this: it was planned. Feds bought buses in January in preparation for influx of illegal children, immigrants. Shocking audio here. There's audio and all of that. But this is from Tom Sullivan from Fox News. And he's saying, and I've heard him in the past say a lot of things, you know, that apparently the government didn't want anybody else to know. So, I don't know. Anyway, what else is there? What else is there? Let me take a look here. UN urges U.S. to designate immigrants as refugees. What? Yeah, the UN, folks. The UN, United Nations, urges the U.S. to designate immigrants as refugees. The United Nations officials are pushing for many of the Central Americans fleeing to the U.S. to be treated as refugees displaced by armed conflict, a designation meant to increase pressure on the United States to accept tens of thousands of people currently ineligible for asylum. Officials with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees say they hope to see a regional agreement on that status Thursday when Migration and Interior Department representatives from the U.S., Mexico, and Central America meet in Nicaragua. The group will discuss updating a 30-year-old declaration regarding the obligations nations have to aid refugees. Really? Why don't they meet in the U.S.? Really? You serious? I don't. Have you ever just wanted to scream? You just wanted to just scream. Because most of this stuff, and granted, I feel that way at times, not all the time. But it's not so much screaming into my pillow, it's more screaming in somebody's face to wake up. Well, you know, I figured something out. They're not going to. Okay, and none of this bull crap about, you attract flies with honey, then you know what, shut up. You know, people don't want to wake up. And the majority of the people that have in the United States literally want something done. They're not going to wait for it. Okay? They're not going to wait. There are some people like myself. There's people like Nick Tucker or Bob Brutus or Brian Lang, or, you know, we all, you know, sit behind a mic and we all, you know, but Brian Lang and so he goes out and does stuff. So, but we encourage people. We hope that we encourage people to go out and do stuff. And I don't care if it's just you with a sign that has a big red circle with a big red line through it saying NDAA on it. That's protesting right there, you know. So if you and about 5 other people can go out and do the same thing, there you go. You get noticed by the state-run media. They probably at some point will come and ask you, what are you protesting? That gives you a chance to spread your message. Or the other side of that coin, where police come and arrest you. Who knows? They can't hold you more than 24 hours from what I understand. I could be wrong, and it's different in every location. So you might want to check with your officers first. Speaking of which, do you have constitutional sheriffs in your county? Obviously, Sheriff Douglas Gillespie down in Clark County has no balls whatsoever to be standing up for the people. Now, he did literally say that, yes, well, I shouldn't say literally. He did admit to making mistakes. So, okay. You know, it's like, oops, I did this, sorry. You know, it's... I don't know what else to tell you, folks. You have to have your constitutional law enforcement in your area. And it's real easy. Just call them up and say, hey, I'm concerned about the area because of this, this, and this. And I'd like to know if you follow the Constitution and the rule of law of the Constitution. Hang on, folks, just a sec. There we go. Sorry for the dead air for a minute there. Now, the other thing is, you know, if your law enforcement in your area is constitutional, then you ask them, you know, ask them if, you know, what their intention is when people protest. And tell them, I mean, you know, the Supreme Court, and believe me, I heard this on the Pete Santilli show, and you can check this out yourself, by the way. In 1939, the Supreme Court literally said if a person is protesting, that the opposition cannot interfere with that person's protest because that's against, you know, that's violating the person's constitutional rights. That's called a heckler veto, I think is what it is. So go look it up. And so anybody that opposes you or opposes your implementation of your protest, whether it be somebody else on the street or whether it be the officer going to arrest you, they are violating the law, constitutionally violating the law, and you have a right to protest. Now, what does that mean? I'm not a lawyer, but I have heard that. So, what's that mean? That means you can protest. Without having any interference whatsoever, you can protest. Yeah. So, it's... I mean, all I can say is, I will say this. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. None of that. What I would suggest is go look this information up yourself. Okay, just, I mean, it's you need your answers, and I mean, you need your questions answered for you. And like I said, if I don't know, I don't know. But just, you know, for your own personal education, I mean, you can find this stuff out. So this whole, you know, protesting at the border has got people on edge, and you know, people criticizing, you know, why are they protesting? Because, folks, I mean, number one, they're not supposed to be here. They're illegal. But number two, since the government doesn't give a crap about your rights, Washington, D.C. specifically, doesn't give a crap about your rights, and they're letting them through anyway. Number three, they may have diseases. So we have to watch that, because Border Patrol and other people have already said that they've gotten scabies from these illegals, you know, and they're bringing all this other stuff over. It's like, what? Wait a minute. Stop them at the border and figure out who the criminals are and send their asses back. It's like catching the, you know, you want to get a 6-inch fish when you keep catching the 4-inch fish, and, you know, you're like, I keep throwing this thing back, you know. I mean, that's just the thing. There is no catch and release anymore. That was the order to the border guards many, many years ago, border agents, is catch and release. Well, they can't do that anymore. It's basically Washington, D.C. is telling the border guards, the border agents, and the sheriffs to stand down and just let them in. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, that's just the way it is. We're not going to do that. You know, something has to be done. I don't have all the answers, you know, or even one answer to this mess except to close the border. And after that, I don't know. Close the border. Just close it up. I don't. The militia is going down there. California and Texas militia are working together. We've got citizens that are on the border. Just citizens, just you and I, just grabbing their weapons and going out to the border and just making sure that, you know, they don't cross. Now, you also have the other part of this, too, as well. You have people who, you know, are allowing, you know, you've got the pro-amnesty people, you know. And literally, these people are freaking morons. Because, well, let me get all sick and stuff and, you know, get tuberculosis and whatever bodily disease and disorder I may have and then walk into your house unannounced, not invited, you know. Yeah, you wouldn't last long. You'd catch that crap and in a week you'd be on your back. You know what I mean? I mean, these pro-amnesty people are dumber than a box of freaking rocks. Okay? They need to stop. They need to put down their signs. Oh, by the way, did you know about 75, almost 85% of them, when they go to situations like what's happening in Marietta, they're all paid for? Yeah, go look it up. Crisis actors. Yeah, don't give me this crap about, well, crisis actors don't exist. Really? Have you looked it up? Have you actually read some of the material? Huh. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so, I mean, here they are. I mean, these people should just put down their signs and stop protesting the protesters, you know, and stop trying to outshout them and say, what can we do to help these people out? We're going to send them back, but they're sick, so we need to make sure that they're okay, you know, so they won't spread these diseases or whatever in our communities, right? I mean, that would be the smart thing to do, wouldn't it? You know, you don't want you don't want some airborne, you know, disease in your community, do you? You know, I don't know, but anyway, you might. I don't know, but anyway, I'm just being sarcastic. We got a little bit of time here. Let me go grab another article from. You can go to Free America Radio on Facebook and check this out from English.Aram or Aram, AHRAM, English.haram.org.eg. Loud explosions rock Jerusalem after air raid siren sounds. This was put up yesterday. 3 loud explosions rocked Jerusalem shortly after air raid sirens wailed through the city Tuesday night. The American Free Press correspondent said the sirens sounded at around 1900 General Mean time. With at least 4 bright flashes lighting the sky southwest of the city, a correspondent said. UN makes push for border children to be called refugees. I said that. Can feds legally call in federal agents in riot gear? The answer will likely surprise and scare you. Communities are standing up to Obama's Fly, Drive, and Drop program that leaves illegals miles from the border they walked across. And surprisingly, the flashpoint is in California. In Marietta, California, buses are turned back last week by protesting residents, but today could be a different story. Reports are being generated that federal agents in riot gear will make sure the buses get to the facility to drop off the illegals. How can the federal government call out federal agents in riot gear for a peaceful protest instead of local or state officers maintaining peace? This one protest could actually change how exercising peaceful protest and free speech will be addressed by the federal government in the future. It all goes back to Obamacare and doing away with the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. So you might want to read that. I'm going to put that at the top of Free America Radio on Facebook so you can check that out. What do we do? Like I said, I don't have all the answers, but somebody's got to do something. I'm all for peace, man. I'm all for making the peace and making sure everybody, but you start attacking me and start taking swings and crap like that, oh yeah, I'm going to defend myself, you bet. Much like I know you would if I started to, if I started to man up on you, you know what I'm saying? So it's your God-given right. So if we're at peace in the beginning and we, get to a point of finding some closure and come to some type of agreement on something, we're cool. This issue is not going to go away. This border crisis is not going to go away. It's not going to go away. And much like that Hobby Lobby decision, the Supreme Court, decided in favor of Hobby Lobby, that's not going to go away either. It has nothing to do with religious rights, has nothing to do with women's rights, has nothing to do with any of that, okay? Nothing. Nothing at all. But this whole border crisis can be solved in one swift move. Close the border. And tell, Central America and tell Mexico, look, they're your problem. You figure it out. And why couldn't we just send over, like Doctors Without Borders, why couldn't we send them over there and help them out? Why is everybody coming over here? Oh, I know why. Because Obama. Yeah. He wants to give everybody everything, and he just wants to, socialism. Remember that picture? I think it was in late 2008, before his inauguration. I think he won the election in November of that year. But just before his inauguration, he went over to Venezuela and shook hands with Hugo Chavez. Remember that picture? Yeah. He's been going all over the place apologizing for America. Why? He doesn't need to do that. He's a freaking moron. He's going shaking hands with Marxists and socialists. Why? Because that's what he grew up with. He's a Manchurian candidate. Go look it up. How can anyone occupying the seat in the Oval Office of the White House treat and disrespect that office that others have held? Real simple. By taking control of the executive branch. And our founding fathers warned us about that. And did we listen? No. Obviously not. And we didn't teach our children or grandchildren what it means to be free. We didn't. So guess whose fault it is that our country is in the shape that it's in? Hello? Yeah. I don't get it. Honestly, do not get it. Seriously. I mean, I myself personally think that we need to go into Congress and fire all of them. I don't care who they are. I don't care. There's 535 congressmen and women. Fire them all. But what about this one? They're good. And no. Get rid of all of them. There's almost 100 million people that are unemployed right now. I'm sure we can find 535 people that know how to run the country better than these morons. I remember Bill Clinton being in office, and he tried to pull this crap in his first term, in the first half of his first term. And guess what? The midterm elections turned that around. Didn't it? Remember? Hillary tried to get her socialized medicine through. You remember that? Yeah, it was I believe it was 1994, early 95. Yeah, I remember that. And then Romney took up the baton and turned it into Romney Care for Massachusetts. Screwed up, Well, some was good, some was bad, but mostly bad, so, it kind of overshadowed the good. Speaking of Romney, I think he might be running again, but he hasn't said anything yet, so I don't know. I don't know, folks. It's time for me to get out of here, though. I know that. Hey, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to the website at freeamericaradio.us. Listen to the live show or the podcasts. You can also go to thewaynesPierceShow.weebly.com to listen to that show as well. And remember, LiveTruthRadio.com, Brian Lang. WakingUpTheMasses.com, Bob Brutus. Go check that out. In the meantime, folks, I got to get out of here. I'll be here tomorrow. I may have a podcast, I don't know, but I'll be here live on the Views Expressed, live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free America Radio Network. We the people have the power, for we are America.